What's up, otakus? It's a weekend. It's gonna be a fun one. Hope everybody had a great week. So, lots went on this weekend or this week. So a lot to talk about. And we also finally made it to Destiny City Comics, like I said I would. And we ended up selling half of our overflow box. I got about 75 cents per comic in terms of trade value, which isn't good because I bought most of those books for like around $1, maybe maybe even as high as $2. But I did want to get the books that I found at Destiny City Comics. So the way I look at it is like I'm trying to look at it as like a trade. I traded 80 some books for 12 books, I guess. 80 books that I didn't really need in the collection for 20 books that I did want to have in the collection. So, yeah, I didn't pay anything for these because I had trade value, and I still have about $11 left in terms of store credit at Destiny City Comics, which is good. And everything we picked up here today, for the most part, will be core PC stuff. So, yeah, we got some good stuff. I do want to kind of showcase and highlight that. A lot of good stuff. I was able to check off about, I want to say 3 more books off the jimlee checklist. I'm going to do a quick count here, see what we're at. So our current jimlee book count is 291. We're at 291. Yeah, we got some jimlee news to talk about. We got lots of good stuff, I guess. I just want to do one more little recount just to make sure we're 291. 291. Okay, yeah. So another thing, I'm just going to turn this down because it's a little bright. Hang on, I do need to bring that back though. One thing we were able to also do is pick up a book off of eBay. I haven't shopped off eBay in quite some time, but there was a book there. We sent an offer, the guy accepted it, and really it was like at that price, I don't know if I'll ever have an opportunity to get it. So, and the condition is decent. The guy saying it's a 6.0, but it looks to be actually maybe higher. The only thing that maybe there's a back cover crease they didn't advertise, but that's fine. Even if it is a 6.0, I think the price we paid is fairly good. I'm just hoping it really presents well from the front cover. And yeah, it's going to be another, not as big as the thing we picked up last week, but it'll be a big addition to the collection. So we'll go over that. It's going to arrive probably next week. It's on its way from New Jersey, so I think it'll get here. Hopefully it gets here by Sunday, but in all likelihood, I'll be probably unboxing it live during the week when I get it, because I don't like to wait to unbox things. I just will unbox them live, even if it's just one item. We'll go. So as soon as we get that, we'll unbox it. Hopefully it comes by Sunday, and then we can do a little grade along thing. If it doesn't get here by Sunday, we'll probably, hey Miss O, what's up? Nice pickup of books there. I really appreciated your haul. Miss So looks like she went hunting in the quarter bins and got a bunch of good DC and some independent comics as well. Really nice. All right, so let's get into the haul. Let's just get into it and talk as we go. And you'll have to forgive me. I've got this like sore throat. Not that I'm sick, but I definitely feel sick. Like my throat is kind of itchy in the morning, and it's just, I don't know if it's allergies or what, but I'm just not, I'm kind of congested and not feeling 100%. All right. So like I said, we sold a bunch of books. I sold about 80 books to Ethan for about $60 in store credit. And we spent $49 on books. And I'll go over what we paid, the price we paid for each book here. But this is an entirely Destiny City comic books haul. We got 12 books from there. I love going. I don't feel bad about having sold the books to Ethan, because he's going to turn around, sell the books, hopefully make a good profit on the books. Even though I probably lost some value there, I was able to pick up what I wanted. And I had a great conversation with Ethan. He's just he's just a great comic book shop owner. Always provides a great conversation. So we talked about CDC, we talked about the 90s X-Men, Jimlee. There's like, so anyway, I hope he it helps out his business. He's able to sell the books. They're all like good books. I'm sure people are gonna be claiming stuff off of his website or come into the store and buy stuff. So hopefully he's able to move a lot of my stuff. Again, like I lost a little value there. That's fine. Helping him out. Got books that I wanted in return, and we have space. I actually have my overfill box is now like ready for more overflow books as we kind of like sift down and as we have more Jim Lee books and more X-Men books and stuff and Fantastic Four books, we have to find space from somewhere. And I'm now looking to like maybe not collect as much Peach Momoko. I love Peach Momoko, don't get me wrong, but I think it's a fool's errand to try to keep up with her books. And I'm just content with having a few books of hers. There's a lot of covers that, they're nice, but they just feel like, she's just capitalizing on her. They're not well thought out pieces. Let's just put it that way. They're just kind of like, here's Daredevil. Here's Spider-Man with some flowers around it. And like, it's just like, it just feels like she's going through the motions on a lot of the covers these days, which is why it's nice to see her finally doing interior work on the Ultimate X-Men. And that's been getting some pretty nice reviews. I've always said she's as talented of a cover artist as she is. Her internal work is just incredible. And she's just a great storyteller through her art. So I'm glad she's kind of, and that's not her manga, comic books. This is not her natural medium, but I'm glad to see that she's kind of found her niche, embraced it. She's even playing, like I used to be adamant that she's not a manga artist, but she's now adding like manga, anime, traits to her artwork. She's just kind of resound herself to giving the fans what I guess they want. So yeah, I mean, she's kind of positioned herself as a Japanese manga anime artist, unfortunately. But she's also very, I guess, she's very unique in the sense that she's taking that style, but also adopting sort of the Western comic book. Like she's working in the medium. She's using a lot of the techniques, a lot of the kind of Western comic book approaches to comic book storytelling, and kind of creating this like fusion style, like her own unique take on it. But yeah, just there's a little bit of like, oh yeah, she's selling out. She's, I wish she would have stayed true to like her style when she did, when she first did the X-Men. It was, what was it, Demon Days? When she first did Demon Days, I wish she would have just stayed more consistent to that. For the most part, she has. It's just, again, she's like kind of walking that line between like more manga artist than like Western comic book artist. She's like, she could have been just like a unique Japanese artist in the Western media, but now she's just kind of like, putting herself in a position of like, I'm a Japanese artist that will bring manga and Japanese style to American comic books. And it's not a bad thing, but again, it is just kind of catering to what people expect of her rather than being true to herself, I think. That's just my opinion, but it just feels that way. And I don't blame people for, wanting her to be like kind of like a manga style artist in American comic books. That there's a merit to that as well, but it is sort of a departure from what we were seeing early on, especially in like heavy metal, especially in like her Demon Days, some of the Star Wars work she was doing, just absolutely. And don't get me wrong, she's doing something that no other artist in either Japan or America is doing. So in that sense, we're still a very big fan of Peach, and we just hope she's successful. That's all that matters at the end of the day. But yeah, there's just a little bit of, I think, catering her style to what fans want these days, and that's fine. She's Marvel's kind of foreign import, so very valuable from the publishing side, from Marvel's perspective. All right, what are we doing? We're blabbing about stuff that we don't need to be doing. All right. The first book we got was from the Dollar Bins. And, this is I would say a solid mid-grade book. Probably like around a 4.0. And we've got The Amazing Spider-Man 302. Great Todd McFarlane cover. Why isn't my camera coming into focus? Always having issues here. Hold on just a minute. Are you going to come into focus or no? All right. Anyway, it doesn't want to. There we go. So we got this nice newsstand copy. You know, it's got some like a tape pull there. Its spine's got a lot of color break, spine ticks. There's a little corner crease here, but you know, for $1, McFarlane newsstand goodness. We'll add it to the collection. No complaints there. This also we got for $1. It's Andy Kubert's first work on X-Men, his first cover on X-Men, as well as first, you know, interior work. And he would go on to do a very long run in X-Men, both in a stint in Uncanny and then a very long stint on X-Men Volume 2. Just a cool. And again, this is another addition to our kind of the X-Men run we're trying to fill. At some point, when we start running out of room, I gotta target X-Men to purge. But until we hit that point, I'm going to continue to add, you know, this era X-Men, and we're going to target newsstand copies because I think that's just, there's a lot of, you know, direct editions out there. So when I see a direct, it doesn't necessarily compel me, but when I see a newsstand for $1, which is in decent shape, this is actually in better shape than the previous book I showed. No creasing for the most part, just got a big spine roll there, kind of unbalanced. But yeah, I'll take that for $1. I put this in like the 6.0 range. No, 6.0 range doesn't seem that outrageous. We picked up another run in the Fantastic Four, early burn. I think this is like his third book in the run, or early in the run. Who is he? What is he? I have no idea. I haven't read you yet, so this is also not in great shape. So I would say nice. Yeah, like a 5.0 or 6.0. It's got a little corner crease there, very minute, but it breaks. You can see it right there. Some color breaks and this big spine ticks, color breaks up there. I mean, we're gonna eventually get to grading these, so get a better idea what these are. I'm just giving you my initial impression. We'll go in and dissect. All right, this next book we also got for $1, and it's a beat up copy. It's a beat up newsstand copy, but I mean, I'm really excited to have picked it up, and it feels a little unyoungy, like feels a little faded and fated, FATED, in the sense that you know, Jim Lee made a recent announcement. I think I'm the only one that took heed of the announcement and got excited. I'm probably the only one in the comic book community, and I've been shouting at every opportunity I get. But Jim Lee announced there's an omnibus coming out. It's a 2-volume omnibus that collects all the amalgam stories, DC versus Marvel universe, or I should say DC versus Marvel, was this, short kind of mini series that came out in the 90s. It combined a lot of the popular characters like Superman, Captain America, Batman, Wolverine, and then spun them off into these like um, co-published, DC Marvel what would you say, like collaborative titles. And I would say that probably the most well-known character to come out of this, again, collaboration between DC and Marvel was Darkclaw. And we have the first full appearance. He makes a cameo appearance at the end of the DC versus Marvel run. And then again, they spin off all these different characters. We get this one-shot amalgam Legends of the Dark Claw. And this is kind of what we're talking about. This late 90s goodness here. We've got art by jimlee. Yeah. So jimlee did a connecting cover for the new 2-volume omnibus that collects this and other stories from this sort of content. And they're both, it's continuity. Remember that DC Marvel meeting in the same space, the same timeline is continuity. So Superman fighting Hulk has actually happened. And I can see that translating at some point. Even if, it's a newsstand. These are really, I think, rare, this newsstand copy of it. It's late 90s. Pretty badass newsstand. It does have issues. This really needs a press. If pressed, it would look fabulous. But right now, if you kind of we'll take a look at it. We'll grade it. But bunch of spine ticks. There's like a crease that kind of breaks color at the beginning and then kind of fades out. But we got it for $1. For me, it's just a nostalgic buy. A little bit of spec, I guess. I think there's value in Darkclaw. When you merge two of the most popular characters from each publisher, Batman and Wolverine, I mean, people are just gonna want it, right? If you're a Batman collector, most Batman collectors are like, I think, Marvel fans as well, vice versa. I mean, if you're a Marvel fan, if there's anything you like on the DC side, it's going to be Batman, right? So there's a little bit of overlap there in terms of Wolverine and Batman fans. I'm definitely a fan of both characters. I collect them both. So yeah, this is just cool. I just wish the art were better. Nothing against Jim Balent. I just think he wasn't, again, it's going to be cool to see a Jimlee. So this is the thing, like, this is what I've been shouting out and that people need to take more notice of is this is Jim's first work for Marvel in over 30 years, right? He left in 1991 Marvel. So we're talking like the first work he's done for Marvel. He's like coming back to Marvel technically through this cover he's doing for the omnibus, which is DC Marvel. It's a DC Marvel collaborative publication of all the works. This amalgam comics, this is where they were working together in concert to create stuff like this. And that's huge. Think about it. Like, Jim Lee's been with his own company, Wildstorm Image, for many years. Then he goes over to DC, and he's been with DC for 20 years. And Marvel's just been kind of like, you know, regurgitating his old Marvel work to make variant covers, like, you know, past tributes, just whatever opportunity they can use to use his art to, you know, help their bottom line. That's been going on. And, you know, Jim Lee, obviously he doesn't feel good about it, but for him to actually, you know, I thought it would have happened later, much later, maybe closer to his retirement. But I was saying, like, he eventually would come back and probably do something um, before his retirement. Like, he'd probably want to wrap up his career, having done something for Marvel on the X-Men title, right? Just to kind of come full circle. Well, he's kind of getting that opportunity right now by doing like the Dark Claw, and I know he'll be very like Wolverine centric, Wolverine heavy on the Dark Claw. He's already put out a preliminary sketch of the connecting covers. Go and check it out. But absolutely amazing stuff. He has so many characters, like the amalgam characters coming out. And yeah, Ethan and I were talking about it because Ethan didn't know about it either. I was telling him, hey, man, this is coming. And he's like, he looked and he's like, oh, wow, you're right. It's coming out in August. And he said he's going to put an order in for it. But he was mentioning to me, like, yeah, they could do so much more with the current cast of characters, like a Static and Miles Morales amalgam, which I thought was brilliant. And I was like, hell yeah, that's brilliant. You know, like, you could do a lot of things with today's characters, the characters that weren't around back in the 90s, but the ones that have been introduced most recently. Like, you know, you could do an amalgam of like Batgirl and X-23, something like that, you know. But just continue to kind of keep this concept, this idea alive, the fact that DC versus Marvel, like, just battles between you know, we got a Superman versus Spider-Man a long time ago, but then we got the entire like X-Men versus the DC universe. And so that was just a really cool thing, you know. Like, it was definitely like on every collector's radar back in the 90s. And you know, they could have done more with it, but all good things come to an end. But all good things also come back for I guess a remake, a remix. All right, so anyway, we'll continue to talk about that. This next book I got for $1.50, and I just could not. So everything up to now we paid $1 for. Okay, everything up to now has been $1. This next one we paid $1.50 for, and I was pretty sure when I got it, I think I knew what I was looking at. Because I had this on my kind of written, not like wish list. It's on my wish list. Let me take that back. It's on my wish list. But you know how you have a lot of things on your wish list and you don't necessarily have them top of mind. So I saw this and I was like, you know, I think I had this on my wish list. I couldn't be for certain. But I got it again, $1.50. I didn't have to think hard or look up anything. I just was like, I'm gonna get it. It's George Perez. It's Wonder Woman. We got Wonder Woman 283. Beautiful cover here. Especially look at the background there. That red dragon. Just amazing art by George Perez. But this is actually George Perez's first cover on Wonder Woman. And, you know, George Perez would do a lot of meaningful work, both at Marvel and DC, work on so many different characters and titles. But really, when he did his run on the Volume 2 of Wonder Woman, I think that has been largely recognized as like sort of his stamp or his legacy in comic books. Just because of the great focus on the character, the great artwork. And he did a long run on it, like 50, 60, almost 60 issues on Wonder Woman. So, excuse me. Excuse me. So, yeah, that's kind of like a character he's just will be known for, kind of closely associated with, just like Jim Lee with X-Men and Wolverine. Although nowadays it's like Superman, Batman. It's kind of, he has a sort of an eclectic mix of characters he can kind of claim fame to. But like, yeah, Todd McFarlane will always be Spawn, right? Rob Liefeld will be Deadpool. There are certain characters that you just get tagged with, and you obviously want to have the first, artwork or cover. Now George has done Wonder Woman before, but this is the first cover art for Wonder Woman. So I think this is a one. If you're a George Perez fan and collector, this is one you'd want in the collection, and it's just a beautiful cover. First off, I just wish this panel here was gone. You don't need that panel there. Just focus on like central Wonder Woman. Have that beautiful red dragon background, full tilt, but we get this sort of interruption there. Detracts from the cover for sure. But yeah, got $1.50. I'm just like, yes, please. That's not going anywhere. All right, we finally picked up this book. This is a book that's been on our wish list. We didn't want to pay too much for it because there are a lot of copies of it. And I don't mind having the direct edition, which is what we got. Really high grade. We paid $4.50 for this one. Superman, the Man of Steel, number 18. This is the first appearance of Doomsday. And yeah, big book. Yeah, I just, I think as time goes on, I know, these books are very heavily printed, but the keys in this run, or just trying to finish the entire run, from the Doomsday first appearance through the return of Superman, right? Maybe even through the death of Clark Kent. Like picking up more key books from that. And what I mean by key books is that just, I guess, notable. You could probably pick up every book in the run, so maybe that's something. I just know it will get too voluminous, so I don't want to focus on picking up every book, but definitely like the big keys, and this is one of them, right? First Doomsday. We got this great John Bogdanove cover. Pretty cool. All right, $4.50 for that one. All right, so this was one of the books that I had on hold. at Destiny City Comics. This is another book I had on hold, and it is very high grade. I think with a press, I mean, we're looking at like a really impressive copy. And we paid $9 for it, but it's this Neil Adams Superman cover, Superman 317, and he's green because he got infused with kryptonite, and he kind of looks like the Incredible Hulk there, like he's Bruce Banner or somebody. Just just we love everything Neil Adams, so another addition to the collection, very high grade edition, $9. So it's a little bit more than what we pay, but again, for the condition and for what the book is, felt like, yeah, that was worth it. So this is another book we had on hold. Now it's part of my collection. Love it, love it. The other thing we picked up was this one we paid $8.50 for. And this is also very, I'd say 4.0, maybe 5.0 copy. No creasing. So I would say 5.0, maybe even 6.0. And that is Action Comics 362. Another great Neil Adams cover there. Silver Age Action Comics. Yeah, classic stuff. Nice red cover. Again, I think the grade is outstanding for, get that, no creases, nothing. Maybe a couple spine ticks there on the spine. Corners are still fairly sharp. So yeah, $8.50 for this one. I feel like we just got really lucked out on such a nice copy. So very happy with that pickup. All right, we'll get into the Jim Lee books. Like I said, we have 291, technically 292, because we have instances where we have a direct edition and a newsstand edition. And I count that as one book. I don't recount it. It's that issue. But technically, yeah, some of the newsstands and the directs, you could just count them as two books because there's two different values. There's just a different level of collectability to a newsstand copy, especially if it's in high grade. But yeah, for the most part, we're just going to keep it. We're not going to separate it. We're going to keep it one. But we're at 291. So about 9 more books will be, and 292 is coming. Like I said, it's in the mail right now. It's on its way. So we're fast approaching 300. We'll do a special show when we reach 300. I imagine by the time summer rolls around, we'll be there. Yeah. Anyway, we picked up. I think we have the full run now. This is the last one maybe that we need to pick up for Superman Unchained. And the ironic thing is I had issue 6, but it was pretty dinged up copy. So I think we ended up trading it or giving it away or something. But we picked up another copy. This one was for $2. Superman Unchained, issue 6. I rather enjoyed this story. There's some pretty cool moments in it, but I didn't like the suit. This is the blue underwearless suit, and I just didn't like it. So, but again, there's just so much great Jim Lee artwork in this. It's hard to hate. I just wish, they would have done the suit right. But yeah, I mean, they got the underwear back on him, so I guess shouldn't complain too hard. Um, but you know, yeah, there's this really sort of powerful villain, and it's kind of like he's kind of like this sort of anti-villain, I guess. But he becomes a hero at the end. He kind of makes a sacrifice, um, and yeah, it ends there. Like Superman's like, "Oh well, I'll miss you, friend," or whatever. Like they have a brief kind of a brief connection and understanding of each other and mutual respect, and it kind of ends that way. So not bad, not amazing either, but again, it's hard to really read a comic book these days that I'm like just like floored by. Um, yeah. All right, so this next one we picked up for $1 as well, and it's actually in really decent shape. I'd say it's an 8.5 copy with one hitch. It's got this bend in it. Now it doesn't break color or anything, but you see the bend there, and it's just like it slants. But I mean, aside from that bend, yeah, you got a couple spine ticks there, but the corners are sharp, no creasing. It's just a really decent looking book for $1. And yeah, I mean, there's a couple. I have a lot of doubles, but anything you can pick up from this Batman Hush run, that's a double. Especially if it's $1 around there, we've been picking it up. So don't mind adding this great Joker cover to. I mean, yeah, this is the second copy of it, but we don't mind having multiple copies of the Hush run. So again, I just need to kind of flatten it, I guess, and at some point maybe give it a press. But when it presses out, it'll look really nice. Again, I think solid 8.5 candidate. All right, so yeah, we've got that's not, that's a double, so it's not a new edition. And this is not a new edition either, but this is another book we had on hold at Ethan's. And yeah, I've always like, I actually did sell him, I think maybe 2 of this back, including like a Wildcats 2. I might have sold like 2 Wildcats 2 and 2 Wildcats 1s in that deal, in my overflow box. Just had to get rid of some of the triples and quadruples, but we were able to pick up this one, which is a newsstand copy of Wildcats 1. And yeah, it's a high grade copy, so I was really happy to do that. This is kind of one I was wanting in newsstand. Got a bunch of other Image kind of number 1s in newsstands, and this is definitely, for me, like his, again, one of his legacy books. If you're going to talk Jim Lee legacy books, this is definitely the one you want to target for him. And we're just still waiting on Wildcats to really, I don't know, I just have this inkling that DC is going to kind of take slow steps toward doing something with Wildcats. And, as long as Jim Lee's there, he's going to strategically try to position the Wildcats in the DCU at some point. So hopefully that's sooner than later, but I don't mind. It's not really spec. I collect Wildcats, so if that happens, that's cool. It helps me, but if it doesn't, still happy to have Wildcats in my collection. And case in point, we're going to get into this book as we get grading. And this was just a really cool book to pick up. And this is probably a book will get signed by Jim at some point. But we've got the Wildstorm swimsuit issue. There's 2 swimsuit issues. What did I just say? Swimsuit editions. 2 issues in this series. The first one is, they're both by Jim Lee. First one's like sort of a Fairchild cover, just, with her on the front. This one has, I want to say that's Voodoo and anyway, it's some of the Wildstorm characters, but this one is a wraparound cover. So we're going to unwrap it around and show you what's on the back of this thing. But most of you, if you know comic books or we're collecting, you've seen this wraparound, and so you know what to expect. But for those of you who have no idea, just wait it out a little bit. We'll get to unveiling what's on the back. You gotta love this. You gotta love issues like this. This was the 90s in a nutshell, man. You just had I want to call them hornball comics. You had a lot of hornball comics, like just kind of repressed sort of sexual desires manifesting itself, fantasies manifesting themselves through comic art. Great. And Jim Lee was pretty good at stuff like this. We got a signed copy here. Now, there are a lot of people worked on this book, including our buddy Ryan Otagawa. So at some point, I want to get Ryan's signature on this book. He worked on the interior of this book as well. I'm sure he has some cool, interesting stories to share regarding that. But we also got Scott Clark's signature as well as Dan Norton's signature there. So this is a double-signed book. I want to get Ryan's signature on it at some point. I also want to get Jim Lee's signature. So this will be a fun one to kind of collect the Wildstorm artists that worked on this book. Try to kind of track them down and be a nice little project. We'll see how far we get with it. But that would be a cool project to just get Wildstorm creators to sign the book. But yeah, I mean, this isn't like high on the Jim Lee signature. I got a bunch more books that we want to get signed, but it'll be a long-term project, I guess. I guess if we go to enough Jim Lee signings, this will get signed. This and this will get signed at some point. So there you go. That was the haul. This is sort of the book of the haul. I guess we'll start here with the grading, because I know a lot of you are curious as to what's on the back of the book. What's on the back of the book? All right. Let's get to the grading then. We're going to try to grade all 12 books here, and we'll kind of do them, I guess, systematically. Kind of want to get my alcohol. Okay, we have alcohol here. Get some alcohol, rub it on there. And we'll get to do some grading. All right, so we'll start with the Wildstorm swimsuit. edition. Here we go. Just gonna point it down there. All right. Yeah, this is in a nice Mylar, and I'm just gonna remove the tape here so we don't have like a tape pull incident. Be very gentle with this book. Got it double board backed here. Turn around so you see the great cover art. All right, so that's the front of the book, and then, like I said, it's a wraparound cover, so I'm just gonna quickly show you the back. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In fact, first of all, I'm gonna get Jim's signature on the back. I think it'll just be better that way. But yeah, you got Zealot looking real fine. So yeah, that's the back. This is a high grade copy. Say, it's 9.8 candidate, I guess. I don't see any. A little bit of some stress right there. So maybe like a 9.6, but high grade. Really, really pleased with this pickup. Again, it's a double sign. We paid $10 for this, by the way. I don't know if I said how much we paid for it when we revealed it, but this wasn't one we had planned to pick up. I kind of ran across it while I was digging, and I just said, wow. This wasn't in like a dollar bin or anything. It was essentially just kind of sitting in his modern bin. And he had a $10 price sticker because of the 2 signatures. So I thought, if it would have been, I wouldn't have minded either way if we picked it up without signatures. Because I've been wanting all the swimsuit sort of editions of Jimlee's books, but this one is just a lot of people got this book. I don't know why. Well, I have an idea why, but I just feel like it's like, I don't know, the Hornball comics for me is like kind of like, I get, if you're like a teenager, these are very popular, but I just feel like at some point, like, if you're, I don't know, like if this is like for you a comic you want to get to stare at, there's just, I think, better things you can do with your time. Not to say this isn't great art. It's great art and all that, but it's just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, for me, it's not, these kinds of comics aren't things that I collect. The only reason I like this is because it's, again, Jim Lee art, and it is a character I like. And I gotta say, it's a pretty provocative kind of pose and cover there. So I know my buddy Bronze Age Nerd, if he doesn't have this book already, I'm putting it on your radar, buddy. Go out there and get it. It's a glorious cover right there. So boom. Shared some Jim Lee goodness with you. Okay, so yeah, this is a 9. I want to say it's a 9.6, 9.4. I'll go 9.6. Why not? We'll go 9.6 on this one. All right, so what am I doing here? Got to open up a new tab. We're grading. That's what we're doing. All right, so let's grade this real quick. Wildstorm Swimsuit Edition number 2. We are going to grade it a 9.4. Like the reason we're saying, well, I'm gonna go 9.6. The reason I'm saying 9.6 is there's a really, I mean, with a press it would just not be there, but right, you see it right there. You see it right there. There's a little bit of a dent. Doesn't break color or anything. Just a little bit of a stress line. So we'll go 9.4, I guess. Wildstorm. Bunch of people again worked on this book, including Ryan Odegawa. So, gonna just give tribute to Ryan here. We're gonna get Ryan's signature on this book. So yeah, we'll go 9.4 on this. All right, next book. Next book we're gonna do. We are going to do the newsstand copy. Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, let's see. Let's get this one out. All right, so we're just gonna boom. This is a really nice looking copy, I'm gonna say. Got one spine tick, maybe another one right there. Spine trick does break color there. There's yeah, could stand to benefit from a press, no creasing. Looks like it might have been pressed already, which is fine. I mean, I guess a newsstand copy like this, you'd want to. There is a little bit of staining, and then Ethan did let me know that was part of the issue with the book. So another little spine stress line there, but it's in the white portion, so it doesn't break color at all. Can benefit from a press as well. So yeah, I mean, I think this hasn't been pressed, or if it was pressed, it was pressed a while back, and maybe kind of like, it's kind of return to its kind of original state. So I think another press down the road really helped this book. I'm gonna go 9.0 on this one. 9.0. It is still a high grade book, so yeah, we could go. Yeah, definitely 9.0. It's not an 8.5. It just doesn't feel like an 8.5. So a 9.0 newsstand, not bad. Not a bad pickup at all. I'm gonna go 9.0 on this one. Boom. Liking that. All right, moving right along. I already kind of gave my preliminary impression on this. Obviously, it's a bent book, and the bend is not. It's significant, but it's kind of like a roll, so it's not necessarily crease. So I think just over time, if we're just able to put like a bunch of books on it and just over time have it naturally uncurl, and then at some point apply a press, I think this could be an 8.5. Yeah, but with that sort of bend, I don't know. We'll just put a whole grade lower, so we'll say 7.5. But with the press, you could get it up to an 8.5. I think that's a good compromise. This is Batman 614. Beautiful Joker cover here by Jim Lee. Jim Lee does a great Joker. He just makes a Joker look like the Joker should look. I mean, absolutely terrifying. So is it 614? We're gonna say it's a 7.5 because of the bend. Again, if we were able to press this out, you can see it's pretty clean. Even the spine ticks that are in the book right now, they don't really break color. Just like maybe 2 that break color, three that break color on the front. The back actually looks better than the front. You can see a little bit of a color break on the top here, but in terms of the back spine, a lot better. I guess I'll turn it around and show you this way. A bit of an issue here, but the rest of the book, bit of some stress there. Be a little bit of a color break, but yeah. Again, the press 8.5 with the bend in the book. I think 7.5 is fair. Again, the bend is, we're going to eventually get that out. I think just putting some books on top of it, just letting kind of weight and gravity do a lot of the work for me is going to improve this book. But again, for $1, shoot, we'll pick up that every day. All right. This, for the most part, is high grade. It's got a little bit of a crunch here in the corner. So I'm going to put it at like a 9.0. Crunch doesn't really break color. It's just a little, the press, it should be fine. Superman Unchained. There you go, 9.0. I'm not going to spend too much time grading this book. It looks really, really, really good. So Superman Unchained number 6. We're going to go 9.0. Yeah, with the press, probably much higher, but feel good about that. All right. Whew. All right, I'm going to save the Neil Adams books for last. Just want to get to these and kind of spend time on them, as well as the Wonder Woman. We'll do these ones last. We'll get sort of the modern books out of the way. I guess we'll start with ASM 302. Like I mentioned, this is bordering on low grade. Definitely a lot of issues with the book, but I didn't pay too much for it, $1 for it. So you can see it's maybe you can't see, but let me try to position the camera better here. All right, let me lift up and show you what we're working with here. You can see, yeah, there's some like bends in the book. see it needs a press. Kind of show it at this angle. Let's see. It's in need of a press. There we go. And again, it's got some tape pull there. It's got some stickiness here. I don't know whether it looks like we're going to need to do a wipe. I need to do a wipe here. That's what we're here for. Let's just get a little bit of solution here, and we'll try to rub that stuff off. All right, got some sticky icky right here, something. So it was a tape. It was tape, and someone pulled the tape off. I don't know how much of this we're going to actually get off. Let's just try, do our best. Like Yoda said, do or do not. There is no try. We're going to do it. It's not coming off, and that's fine. Just try to get it less sticky so it... All right, well, that's fine. Got some sticky tape on there. Again, just looking forward to the day we start pressing books. This will be a prime candidate for that. So while we're at it, want to take a look inside at some classic Todd McFarlane art here. Goofy, the goofy faces. McFarlane goofy faces. Look at, but is this Spider-Man just freaking on point? Look at that right there. Some good stuff. This is why you got the book. Spider-Man panels. Got the silver sable. More Spider-Man goodness right there. Nice. Yeah. Not a bad way to spend $1, I think. Newsstand edition there. Good stuff. Let's see what the last panel looks like. Some Mary Jane, Peter action. Back cover. Yeah, good. Can use a press, but I'm going to go solid 4.0 on this one. I think with the tape. Yeah, we'll go 3.5. If that tape pull and stick, the tape adhesive, and again with the press, I think we can get it up to a 4. As is, it's going to be a 3.5. Yeah, 3.5. So ASM 302. Got it for $1. I'm going to say 3.5. Nice. Okay. Not bad. All right. This next one, it's in a little bit better shape than the ASM. I think this is probably going to be closer to mid-grade. Because again, there's not any creasing on it. There's just really needs a press. Actually, there's like I'll try to show it to you in the light here. You can see it right there. See that crease right there down the So it breaks color right here, and then it kind of fades into the book. So yeah, there's like sort of a, with the press, we'll have to see how much of that crease, if it's just localized to that color break right there, I think we're in good shape. That's really the, in terms of creasing, that's the only, we've got a lot of spine ticks here. Just massive amount of spine ticks, most of which break color, so we've got a lot of color break. But it's a newsstand copy, you know, like who knows how long this was sitting on a spinner rack or whatever, just getting thumbed through. Back looks really decent. You know, if they got this press, the black would look really, man, this is just like nostalgic goodness here. Let's look at this amazing Jim Balent, Larry Hama book. Again, not a fan of the artwork here, but we got we got like some Joker Lobo amalgam. I don't know what's going on there. Something Joker and somebody from Marvel. Got like a Jubilee Robin, I guess, amalgam there. Ooh, look at that. Oh, maybe it's supposed to be like Joker Sabretooth or something. That's a weird amalgam. So we got, let's see, we got Larry Hama, Jim Balent, Ray McCarthy, Denny O'Neill's the editor. Some big names on this book. Yeah. What a trip down memory lane. The year was 1996. This came out in 96. So what we got here? What are they trying to... Oh, they're selling some software, I guess. Vampire in the Dark Ages. Is that like a video game or something? Well, the year's biggest hit, Batman Forever. That was a pretty big movie. Here we go. From the Jaws of Death, DC versus Marvel, issue 4. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, again, amalgam, DC Marvel collabo. Yeah, for $1, that's a great pickup. I feel like, again, with the press, should look decent. This is kind of like, this is why we collect comic books. This kind of stuff. Dark Claw. All right, let me know in the comments if you are a fan of Dark Claw, or if you just think Dark Claw should go die, go off in some corner of the continuity and die. Let me know what your thoughts are. All right, so Dark Claw. What are we giving Dark Claw? I think we'll give it a 4.0. Give Dark Claw 4.0. With the press, we could get it up higher, but you know what? I'm going to give Dark Claw 5.0. It's actually in really decent shape. apart from that crease, but assuming we can press that out, so we'll give it a 4 or 5 for now. The potential for it to be higher. Yeah, we'll go 4 or 5 in Dark Claw. Why can I not find Dark Claw on my spreadsheet? Did I add it? Looks like I did not add Dark Claw. Why not? All right, let's add it now. Wait, let me see if I did add it. Do a quick search. Legend. Oh, that's why I didn't see it. It's called Legends of the Dark Claw. All right, so we'll give it a 4 or 5. I'm just saying 4 or 5 because I'm acknowledging it's a 4, but has the potential to be a 5 in the future. So definitely need to give Dark Claw a try. Marvel has put out worse. Go for it, dude. If you like Batman, you like Wolverine, you'll have that voice in your head, Christian Bale saying "bub." That's how I imagine Dark Claw's voice to be. Christian Bale saying "bub" a lot. All right. I guess we'll go with this book. Well, let's go with this book first. There's actually, like I said, this is a pretty decent grade on this one. It's got this. I don't mind like the spine roll when it's, if it's white, because I don't see, like, again, with the press, this is going to look fabulous. There's nothing color breaking on. There's a lot of stress lines there, but none of it's really breaking color. So again, with the press, this would look pretty good. Let's see here. Is a big, again, a lot of stress lines, but nothing breaks color. So that's, I'm kind of referring to this one right here. I don't know if you can see it. Again, it doesn't break color, so no creasing. It is a newsstand copy. Again, with a press, I think this would just be fabulous. Back looks decent too. Wow, yeah, I'm with as is right now. I'm gonna say it's like a 7.5. Okay, I'm gonna say 7.5. With a press, this could get into the high grades. You can see this getting into the high grades, like a 9, or at least an 8.5. So, yeah. 235 was this? What was this? 65. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. Adam Kubert's first cover and work on the X-Men. Throw your hands up if you're. Well, let's take a look. Let's look at some Kubert. How he starts off. He does an incredibly long run on the X-Men. So let's see here. Chris Claremont's story. Sorry, this interior is Bill Jaska. Did not have a very long run on X-Men. Not too bad, Bill Jaska. pretty good. Sam, impressed with Jessica's work. Well, he should have probably gotten at least more of some more work on this. This is like when kind of like a lot of people are sort of auditioning to take over Silvestri, and of course Jimlee eventually gets it, but we get Kubert into the mix and Jessica here. Some pretty cool artwork. All right, yeah, that's the worst thing we could have gotten for $1. And again, just we're trying to get as many issues to complete this run as we can. I don't know how far we'll get, but just continue to do it until I'm sure it'll be a lifelong venture for me to get. At least what we want to do is like get 200 through 300. It's kind of like we've got things outside of that, but for me, like, it's kind of the era that we want to focus on. I'm just gonna blow my nose here. All right, moving on. We got John Byrne goodness. All right, let's see what this book. I'll take the board out with this one. So yeah, we got this one's needs a press badly. Let me try to shine the light there and see a lot of stress lines, especially on the spine here. Right there, you see that? Not good. Some color breaks there. Some rounding on the corners. We actually got a color break, color crease there, right there. Some indentation on the edge there. Back looks decent. Could use some eraser time. Overall, yeah, pretty good. Let's take a look at the interior here. Got it stuck. Hang on, I gotta be very gentle with this so we don't tear it. All right, I'm not gonna mess with that. It looks like it's ready to tear. We'll just take a look. Not at the first page, we'll just look at the interiors here. I don't know. I just think Byrne did such a brilliant job on Fantastic Four. I really hope. I know that these books are plentiful. Like you go to any comic book shop, you're gonna have a decent inventory of Byrne Fantastic Four in any given day, but that's fine. Keep it cheap for people to be able to collect and pick up. I try not to pick up. I mean, $2 sort of like the my sweet spot on much of this run. And we got this for $1, but we don't mind picking up like mid-grade copies for $1 or higher grade copies for $2. 3 if it's looking really, really minty fresh. But yeah, there are just maybe a couple of issues on this run that are above $20, but for the most part, it's a run that's pretty affordable. All right, let me see if I can separate it. No, that's glued on real tight. And I've got it. Yeah. This is sort of my fault because I did apply some glue to keep that corner down, but it looks like it just stuck to the page, which is fine. I don't want it sticking like that though, so let's see if we can finesse it off without ripping the corner off. I did it. That's how dope I am, man. Look at that. This is dope. Oh, well, no, you didn't do it. Hang on, I can do it. Give me another shot at here. All right, maybe I don't want to do that. All right, we'll keep that one page on there. I feel like it, Yeah, I feel like if anything, the newsprint's gonna tear rather than the cover. Let me just try one more last attempt here, and then we'll give it up if it doesn't come off. Ew. Yeah, I'm not gonna touch that. I don't want it ripping off. All right, we'll just keep that corner. I think over time it'll have better luck once the adhesive just degrades a little bit. All right, well, what do we want to give this grade? Definitely I think there's room to improve some of the white here with eraser time. Again, with the press, I think it would look a lot better, but as is, we're going to give this a solid mid-grade. No creasing really. There's just that corner crease. Yeah, we'll go mid-grade. 5.0. Again, with the press, we could probably get it up higher. With a good clean at a press. So what is this? 234. We'll say. Sorry, this is 234. Yeah. We'll say. It's 5.0. All right. That is that. All right, we're gonna get into some of the older books now. Oh, actually, no, wait, we got one more modern book to grade. So we're saying 5.0 on that one. All right, this next one, yeah, this one's I don't want to say it's in high grade. As it should be. I mean, it was basically published in the era of in the era of when books were just taken care of. You know, a lot of the books that were sold in the 90s came bagged and boarded. So as long as you didn't go crazy with reading them and everything, they're just gonna retain. So we've got spine ticks here, but nothing color breaking. So with a press, could really look really good. Sharp corners. Yeah, the back helping our cause. Nothing color breaking there. So yeah, all this is really in need of is just a really good good press. And it's as is. I would say it's it's a 9.0 as is. So with the press, potential to go a little higher, but as is the 9.0. I'll go 9.2. I'll go 9.2 on the Superman. Man of Steel 18. Nine two on this one. All right. So moving right along. Eesh. I'm not the most adept bagger and boarder, as you can tell. There we go. Great goodness. Good book to pick up. All right. Which one to grade first? Got some, I think, really good grades here. So let's start with the Wonder Woman. All right, this one does have some issues, looks like. We've got some kind of crumpling there at the bottom. A little bit of color break. So we need to press this at some point. Wonder Woman looks fabulous. No creasing or anything there. Just a lot of little rippling here along the edges as well. Corners are blunted. Yeah, this is as is looking could do some eraser time here. Maybe we should do a little bit of it. Not liking that. Let's wipe it first. Wipe it up. See if we can get that cleaner. Slurpee, man. Remember Slurpee? I guess Slurpees are still around. I remember maybe a few years ago having a Slurpee and just being like, yes. All right. Well, so we need to press this. It is a little bit dingy. There's a lot of creasing it's not strong, but it's You can kind of see it right there. So it's prime candidate for a press. There's a lot of like bends in the book, a lot of stress lines in the book. But man, for George Perez's first Wonder Woman cover, glorious stuff right there. Absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I'm gonna put this at a. I'll put it at a 5.0. Yeah, I think 5.0 is fair. Maybe a 4. I think a 4 or 5. So kind of similar to if it gets a press, it's a 5.0. If it stays as is, it's probably like a 4.0, close to a 4.0. I don't want to say it's close to a 4.0, so we'll just say it's a 4.5. Potentially, it could be a 6. Yeah, potentially could be a 6. So we'll go that route. This is 283. We'll go 5 on this one. Oh, we'll go 5.0. We'll go as high as 5.0. I think with the press, 6.0. Because there's not really creasing. It's just, well, I should say that there's creasing. It's just, it's borderline. It's not really a full crease in that sense. Just like I like to call them stress lines. You just see lines in the book, but if you press it out, they're not gonna be there at the end of the day. So yeah, let's go 4 or 5. And that, yeah, Ethan had it at a VG. I think that's fair. That's a pretty fair assessment. All right, which one to do first? Let's go with this book first, and then we'll do the Action Comics. All right, this one, I'm expecting really nice things from this. So, oh wait, we've got like it's not really a crease. Yeah, but it is. But it could press out. I don't know if you can see it right there. So like you're gonna see right there. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't break color, but it is very noticeable. Got some indentation as well on that part. That's fine. So overall, I'm gonna like corners are sharp. Spine is really clean and decent. I'm gonna put this at like an 8.5 at the moment. Now I'm gonna put it at like a 7. I'll put it at 8.0. I'm gonna put it at 8.0 at the moment. It does need a press, so with a press it could get higher. I don't know. I think there is that stress line, that crease. I'm gonna go 7.5 on this copy, which is a little disappointing. I thought it was going to be higher than that, but again, with a press, I think we can get up to an 8.5 easy. It just needs to be a really good press, because even though it doesn't break color, if you don't press that out right, it could press it. Like it could press actually in the crease. So it'd be very, very careful with that when we do it, when we eventually do it. So let's see here. Superman 317, we're going to go. We'll go 7.5. 7.5 as is. Who knows? Let's take a look. So this is, I believe the interiors are Kurt Swan, if I'm not mistaken. It is. Good stuff. Nice. This was ahead of my time. This was Nam Man Hyung's era of collecting. Oh yeah, this I remember. So yeah, this book is key because it's the first time Lana Lang, who's a favorite of our, character, favorite. This is the first time she appears as a journalist, like a reporter or a newscaster, which is significant because I think they're having her. I think the modern version of her also has her as like she's not some pining, pining nobody, still in Smallville. She's like a well-to-do professional, and as a journalist, she's kind of it opens her up to be like a rival to Lois a little bit. And I hope they do more with Lana, to be honest. Like, I know they're, a lot of the narrative is just like focusing on Lois, but who doesn't like a good love triangle, right? I know they brought Wonder Woman in. It could be a love quadrangle. So who knows? I'm all for a love quadrangle. All right. We're now going to Action Comics 362. So wait, what was the grade on? Yeah, we already said 7.5 on this one. Okay. All right. I'm hoping this next one is going to be a little bit of a surprise. Beautiful beautiful Neil Adams cover here. All right, so we got Action Comics. So we need to. This is definitely in need of a press. And this is one we may want to get graded at some point. Just looks really nice. So we need to press it, and I can kind of see why here as I tilt it in the light. Looks never to have been pressed. There's a lot of stress lines here. Some of it just minor color breaks, but again, pressed out could just completely eliminate. And yeah, like a lot of little stress lines here, but with a good press, it's just smooth that all out. The color just pops on this still. I'm sure you can tell through. Let's take a look at the back. Yeah, the back is decent. No creases. So I mean, it's a really nice looking copy. I think, I'd put this as is in the 6.0 range. What do we have here? We got, looks like, who's on pencils here? I'm just gonna check my stats, so I don't have to dig through them. We'll just show off a little bit more of the interior here. So action. This is what action 362. Oh, look at that. Ross Andrew and Mike Esposito. We love Ross Andrew on Superman. This is going to be early Ross Andrew. Silver Age Ross Andrew. That's crazy. Look at that. That is beautiful Ross Andrew. Boom. Really nice page quality on the. Yeah, I love. This is a very nice pickup. Again, I think this may have to go to Roger. We may want to, Roger, if you're watching, I think it's time to send some books your way. You got to be bored in New Jersey, right, Roger? You got to be like, man, I'm bored. I need something to do. Hopefully you got your setup there. I know you'll have fun working on this book. This has so much room for improvement there. I mean, it's a great looking book as is. I'm seriously gonna say it's a 6.0. Yeah, it's a 6.0 right now, but potential to really grade up. I think you get as, to be honest, you can get up as high as an 8.0. You can go from like a 6. We're saying gonna say 6.5. Potential to go to an 8.0 or higher. I don't think it'll be higher than an 8.0. I think it can be an 8.0 though. So put this at a 6.5. 6.5. Yeah. And we'll say first Lana Lang as anchor. As it is television. First Lana Lang as TV television reporter. I think newscaster, television anchor. I'm say anchor. It's television, TV anchor. Cool. All right. Well, that I think does it for this session of the Great Lawn. Hope you guys had. Hope that was as fun for you as it was for me. You know, I do this every week. If I have a haul, I'm grading the haul. If I haven't picked up any books, I'm just essentially going through my collection and grading it book by book. I try to grade. I'm trying to grade like 10 books if I can now. I think that's not a big lift, and it is fun. And we get through 10 books at a time is actually getting through a lot of that inventory. So yeah, really happy with these pickups. I think again, this one has potential to be really high grade. I think again, I'm gonna message Roger and see if he's down to working on some books. I think those two would be prime candidates for him to work on. All right, so let's just kind of, it's March Madness first of all, so hopefully you guys got your brackets filled out and you're enjoying it. In fact, I'm just going to check my bracket real quick. ESPN. Let's just check out. Oh, that's interesting. I'm actually doing really well in my but I have Gonzaga winning it all this year, and they're a long shot to win it. But then again, oftentimes it's those kinds of calls that win you these kinds of tournaments. Looks like I just dropped. I think there was a pick I didn't. Ooh! Oh no! Oh no! Wisconsin lost. I had Wisconsin in the Sweet 16. That's not good. That's not good. Everything else. Kentucky, obviously. I'm lucky. I didn't have Kentucky. I had NC State over Kentucky, so that was a good pick. But and I also had I think Auburn lost too. I didn't have Auburn going far. Yeah, I had I had UAB over Auburn, but UAB didn't make it out. But that's still good. I mean, Auburn's UConn will come out of that bracket, I think. I don't think anybody. Not a lot of people probably pick San Diego versus Yale. San Diego State versus Yale. Yeah, I had a really good day yesterday, but not too bad today. But that Wisconsin one hurts. It's our first. Like I still have a chance to get all the teams, all the Sweet 16 teams, pretty much, except the Auburn. Sorry, I didn't have Auburn in. I had UAB upsetting Auburn, so the fact that Auburn's not in there, it bodes well for me. I'm sure a lot of people had Auburn in the Sweet 16. So if you had like Yale or San Diego State, you're looking good. Wisconsin hurts us. That hurts us pretty bad. And I had NC State over Kentucky, so Kentucky being out helps me there. So I think I'm still in a pretty good position here. Let me just check my group, see where I am. I'm in a league with my colleagues, and there's currently 4 people ahead of me, and I'm tied with 2 people. So I'm tied for 5th with 2 people, and there's 4 people that have 10 more points than I do. So no one's running away with this at the moment. I've got 220 points. I'm in the 87.2 percentile, or 87.2 of my picks have been correct, whereas the people ahead of me, 230, they have 95.2% of their picks. My max points still looks good. My max points is 2nd. This is the maximum points you can if everything goes your way, maximum points you can win, which means like, how deep, how many of the deep picks did you not pick? So I'm still in good shape. Round to 64, got 220 points. We'll have to see what I do in the round of 32, but looking good. I'm not, still, I think, I mean, if I win my office league, not that there's any money or anything on it, it'll just be like bragging rights, I guess. So I took second in my office league last year, and it happened on the last day, and or the final four. It happened in the final four, and the person who ended up winning called like the most ridiculous like team, because I think it was like there was like a Cinderella team that went all the way to the finals or final four, and she picked that team, and they ended up like just advancing. So that's the reason she won. Had that team lost in the final four, I would have won the league, but she made that fluke pick. And again, I mean, that's how you win these things. You pick that fluke pick, and that's how you do it. Staying on sports, Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers went all the way to South Korea. And for the Seoul series. So they opened the season up. The Dodgers and Padres opened the season up in Seoul, Korea for a 2-game sort of exhibition, like season exhibition match. And they split. Dodgers won the first game. San Diego split the second. And it was a really crazy scores, like 15-13. They ended up winning. And guess who was there? Jim Lee and his family had traveled all the way to South Korea to watch the Dodgers game. That's some devotion. And he had tickets to the second game, and he was like celebrating. And then when they lost the game, he was kind of like, oh, came all the way out here to watch the Dodgers. I know that feeling, to pour a bunch of money into like a game, and like a playoff game, and not have it go your way. This isn't a playoff game, obviously. It's a season opener, but it's a lot of time and energy to go there and just watch your team lose. So yeah, Jim Lee was in South Korea watching the Dodgers game. He's a big Dodgers fan. I'm a big Dodgers fan this year too because of Ohtani. Now we're going to talk about Ohtani. So Ippei Mizuhara is his very close friend and interpreter. They have a pretty close relationship. And the Dodgers fired Ippei this week because there's apparently a federal investigation into an illegal bookmaker, sports betting sports betting guy that's doing it illegally. And Shohei Ohtani's name came up in the investigation because apparently money from Ohtani's bank account was wired into this dude's account, the guy who's under federal investigation. So Ipe comes forward and says, I have a gambling debt, $4.5 million worth of gambling debt. And he initially, in an interview, says, Otani-san was just helping me out. I got into this debt. I came to him. He wired me the funds to pay off this gambling debt. I didn't realize this guy was illegitimate or he was illegal. And again, he did me a solid. Well, a couple days, like immediately after that interview, he comes back and says, I lied in the interview. I stole the money from his bank account. Otani had no knowledge. And this is all on me. Otani had no knowledge that the money was transferred. I stole it. I stole $4.5 million from his bank account. I had access to his bank account because he trusts me. I betrayed that trust, stole it. It's all on me. And then the Dodgers fired him soon after that admission. And it's turning into a bigger and bigger scandal, because the question is Ipe telling the truth, or was he a proxy for Otani and just he's being the fall guy? Now, there are differing opinions based on whether you are Japanese and are tuned into the Japanese media, which is a completely different take on this coverage, as opposed to people here in the US with the sports talk radio. Let's face it, sports talk radio wants the controversy, wants the scandal, wants you to continue to tune in and kind of like wonder if there's a story here. So the US is painting it like this was potentially Otani doing something illegal, that Ipe is just, again, taking the blame for, being the fall guy for, because it begs to, the question is begged, how did this guy, who's his interpreter, have access to his funds? And how does a guy, let's just assume it is his debt, right? Then the story about Otani transferring or wiring the funds to help his friend out becomes a little bit more of a viable story. But then that would put him in direct violation with the federal investigation, as, like, it makes him look bad. Had he done that, even if it is to help his friend out, it looks like he's placing the bets himself, right? So right now, Otani's lawyers, the Dodgers front office, everybody's painting this narrative of like, look, Ipe did it. He admitted to it. And let's move on. Okay. He's got the white gloves on. Nothing happened here. He is, he's not a gambler. Doesn't have an issue with gambling. Ipe is the guy who got into debt. Ipe is the guy who likes to gamble, had this issue. And Otani, if anything, was helping him out, but we're not even going to admit that. We're not going to admit Otani even helped him out. We're going to just wipe our hands clean of this guy. He stole money. He got into debt. And they're painting this narrative, which nobody in the US is buying, but people in Japan are buying. So it's like there's this cultural divide on, did Otani do it or did Ipe do it? I'll kind of give arguments for both sides. Okay. So, first and foremost, you have to know Otani's background. Otani came from a sporting background. His dad was a coach. His mom was a professional badminton player. So, they come from an athletics background, very sort of clean, wholesome upbringing. Um, he just spent his whole time in athletics, playing baseball, and you know, just being your average Japanese kid growing up. Pretty sheltered, pretty. Um, he didn't live a hard life. He wasn't rolling in money at the same time. Um, so the the Japanese media is saying like it would be really difficult for Otani to get into these illegal kind of activities. Like he's got all this money, he's got so many things on his plate. He's not going to, you know, there's no impetus for him to do something of this nature. Um, and yeah, like if you just look at the character profile, like the upbringing and the character profile, it makes sense. Like Otani just wouldn't have uh, the desire, inkling to do those kinds of activities, one would think. On the other hand, Ippei uh, immigrated to LA. His parents were, when you come as immigrants, there's not much you can do in the country. So they opened up a restaurant. That's a hard living right there to be restaurateurs, even in LA. But yeah, they kind of struggled culturally. Obviously, Ippei was an immigrant. So, they didn't have a lot of money. His parents were constantly working. I kind of understand that side of that kind of immigrant journey, or I don't know what you want to call it, but it's a struggle. It's a struggle. So in terms of the backgrounds, like who would be more apt to, if you had money, to take risks with money in the hopes of winning more money? Um, I think eBay does fall into that profile a little bit better. Now that I just made a big assumption. I made a big kind of I'm making a judgment on both people that isn't necessarily justified. But again, if you're just kind of looking at it as an investigator, right? Like who's going to be more prone to falling into a gambling debt, right? Otani or a guy like Ippei? And this is how the Japanese look at it. The Japanese are going to point their fingers at Ippei. Okay. Now, American media. Now, this is where that cultural divide happens. In Japan, the Japanese media aren't sensationalizing the story. They are interested in it because of the human relationship aspect, that Ippei betrayed Otani, who put his trust in this guy, basically gave him all the fame and notoriety and a lot, as Ippei's translator, he's got, sponsorship deals. His social media is blowing up. He's making a good amount of change. Nothing like Otani, but he's making a living, right? And so they're painting it as like this betrayal. This guy comes in, he betrays the trust of his, essentially, like if you're looking at like if you're looking at like a Japanese caste system, he's betraying his samurai, his shogun, right? And that's kind of where Japanese media is. They're the narrative circulating there. Here, on the other hand, the fact that there's this like cloud of mystery, and it just seems so convenient that the guy who stole the money is coming forward and saying, "Hey, it was me. Hey, eyes here, it's me." Okay, like I could see how American people would be like, "That's too convenient," and it's just too convenient. Like Otani has more to lose. Ippei doesn't. Ippei is a very devoted friend, somebody who seems like he would take the blame and be the fall guy, to because he values that relationship and that friendship. Doesn't want to get his friend in trouble. He's got nothing to lose. I mean, you can just always say, "I made a mistake." Dodgers fired him, but I think, yeah, I think in the long run, like maintaining that loyalty to Otani would benefit him maybe down the road as well. So there's just, again, two kind of sort of cultural views of how this is folding out. We don't know what the truth is. And I'm not gonna make my prediction on this. It's just one of those things you just don't. I'm not comfortable accusing Ippei or Otani of anything, but what is apparent is one of those guys was in gambling debt because they're betting on soccer, and again, $4.5 million in debt. That's chump change for Otani. Okay, that's like his lunch. I don't want to say it's his lunch, but you know what I mean. It's like a comic book haul for him, to be honest, right? It's like going out and spending, some money on comic books. God, imagine $4.5 million. Well, what you could buy with $4.5 million worth of comic books. Okay. But for Ippei, on the other hand, $4.5 million is a crap load of money for that guy. Okay. So, but therein lies also another dichotomy, because $4.5 million isn't a lot. So if Otani's bored and Otani feels like, "Hey, you know what? Let's put some money on that game. I love soccer. Let's put some money on that game." And he enlists Ippei to put some money on it. Okay, hey Ippei, here's $1 million. Let's put $1 million up on that game. And Ippei is just being the go-between for, I don't want to say it's a gambling addiction, but it's just a high stakes kind of gambling. For a guy with all the money in the world, Michael Jordan got into that kind of stuff, right? He had all this fame, he had to get that dopamine from something, right? And he did it by betting on sports. Same kind of issue. I don't think money or fame or your upbringing has anything to do with it. I think everything to do with, I got all this money, what am I going to do with it? I'm bored. I like sports. I like watching sports. Why not put some money on it? Put $1 million. If I win $1 million, hey, we go to Vegas, or we go on a vacation, or do something fun. I could honestly see like him and Ippei just being bored out of their minds on the road and being like watching TV in the hotel all the time, right? So why not, hey, let's do some gambling. I think it would be fun. Yeah, let's put $1 million. And just kind of like, it's like chump change. $1 million for these guys to place a bet on a sporting event. It's nothing for those guys. Now, it's big news because of the position Otani's in as the face of the MLB, and the fact that the MLB does not, I mean, there's zero tolerance for this kind of like gambling on baseball or sports. And EP was very specific when he came out and said mea culpa, like it was on soccer, not baseball. It was on soccer, right? So you know the stakes, you know the people behind the scenes of this know the stakes to that kind of story getting out. Like, oh, Shohei was betting on baseball. So we're at this moment now. And I'm not going to say it's this way or that way, either way. I think we're at a point where people are going to speculate, and maybe some more information will come out of the federal investigation. Maybe we'll learn, yeah, Shohei, the funds came out of his account, wasn't authorized by anybody else but Shohei. Maybe something like that comes out, but it'll be really the intent. Like, was Shohei simply helping his friend out, or was his friend being the proxy for Shohei's gambling? So right now, I think you've got the American media who wants to, see him as guilty. And you have the Japanese media who wants to see him exonerated and views him as a victim in this whole thing. So I don't know. It'll be news going into the season and throughout the season. So not good for Otani, because there's nothing worse for a baseball player than to have some kind of scandal or something, because baseball's a sport of concentration. You have to be dialed in and focused on the moment. If you're thinking of what is the media saying, do I have to deal with reporters after this game, all the questions, I mean, all that kind of sort of exterior stuff will affect your play. It will put you in a slump that you can't swing out of or play out of. That's a dangerous thing for Otani. That's probably the worst thing that could happen to a player. And the Dodgers have invested heavily on him and, another Japanese player, based on Otani's sort of preference of, like he definitely had a big influence on them signing Yoshinobu too. So, you got this team that basically Otani helped create. And if he's slumping, Yoshinobu doesn't look good, to be honest. He needs to sharpen up, which I'm sure he will. But again, all this off the field stuff, it's going to affect bets. It's going to affect that entire clubhouse, and they're not going to be happy having to go play in front of millions of people and just be constantly asked about Otani. I mean, it's not starting out good. Let's just put it like his teammates are not in a good position, and this is just not turning out. The Dodgers era is not turning out well for Shohei. Again, I think what'll shut everybody up is when he starts hitting home runs and he starts, playing like an all-star. But until that happens, the whispers, so we'll just have to see. Is Otani strong enough to focus on the game, tune everything out, just have a great season, or will this impact is playing. Big questions as we head into the season. And if you're interested in playing fantasy football, Brian LCS has a league. We need at least two or more players. We're drafting next Wednesday. We need two more players. If you're interested, message Brian LCS. You can also message me. We'll send you the information. You can create your team. Let's have a fun fantasy baseball season this year. I think everybody's going to donate a book to the pot, and the person who wins the league gets those books. So you'll get potentially 8 to 10 books for winning the league. So it's not money, but you'll get a nice stack of books. Always fun to play for that. So yeah, we need two more players. Please, if you like fantasy baseball, you gotta like fantasy baseball. We don't want just people like joining like, hey, this is my first time playing. No, you gotta know your stuff, be competitive, stay in the league throughout the whole thing. Don't give up, because it's head to head. So if you're not participating, you're gonna lose and just help basically be another bye week for a team that's facing you. So we need people engaged and competitive and really competing throughout the whole season. Even if you're not in first place or your last place, just compete. Just fill out your rosters per day and stay competitive. And it should be a fun season. All right. What's the other thing that happened this week? They announced a bunch of cool movies. Beetlejuice is coming back. Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, they're back, reprising their roles. I think Winona now has a daughter who's Jenna Ortega. She's the new sort of like, I guess, the young face in the new Beetlejuice. I think she's the daughter of Winona's character. So that's pretty cool. I enjoyed Beetlejuice. It was like Gina Davis and what's his face? Bill Pullman were in the original. And was it Bill Pullman? Somebody along those lines. But it was a fun movie. It was funny. It was definitely a lot of weird Tim Burton weird goodness. So it should be a blockbuster. I would anticipate a lot of people are going to line up to watch that movie. We also got the X-Men 97 underway. A lot of good. Looks like people are very pleased with how it's picked up from the last season. The last 97 season. So it looks like, that's going to be a big success for Disney. Disney, there's a new Star Wars Acolyte series or movie. To be honest, I don't think doesn't look that great, but then again, you never know with those kinds of things. It could be amazing. Just a bunch of like movies and projects are being announced, and like trailers are being dropped. I'm forgetting another one. Aliens. Aliens is another. Looks like a complete remake of the Ripley. Like it had the same image. Young lady with a gun going into the alien hive. I think it's called the Romulus, Alien Romulus. That's always good. Alien movies are they're just fun because you know what to expect. There's just a lot of alien uh, gore. Um, uh, you know, hmm, yeah. I mean, pretty much all the sort of the pop culture, sports pop culture stuff. I'm trying to think of something specific to comic books that's interesting. Um, oh yeah, the CG. Completely forgot about this. So CGC, these clowns. I'm sorry if you subscribe to CGC and think their services have have lost little value despite all the controversy and the lack of transparency and the lack of quality control. If you subscribe that the service still has value, by all means, that's your opinion. You know, uh, you're you're fine. You can have that. You can think that. Um, but they are obviously having some some pain points because they are shelving what they've built up to be the witnessed autograph, right? So they're holding all these like autograph events. Hey, send in these books, Um, these are CGC events. You'll get the yellow label. Send out your books in now. Well, they're pretty much crapping on that business model because they're now entering into a partnership with JSA, which is I think the biggest sports memorabilia um, authentication service. They authenticate signatures, signed memorabilia, and whatnot. And they're applying the signature authentication to comic books now. So essentially, they're doing what CBCS is going to do, which is verify signatures. Okay. So if I'm at a show and I have the option of having my signature, having my book witnessed and getting a label that says, okay, this is an authentic signature versus just signing my book and at some point down the road, slabbing it and getting the authentication, kind of like CBCS, um, then what would prompt me to go with the higher priced witness signature verification? I mean, at the end of the day, they're both going to be verified, whether it's in person or whether it's through the signature analysis. There's been some comments that this new service, the secondary service, the authentication service, has the potential to be exploited like like the previous Q&A process. Um, it also has the potential to miss authentic signatures. For example, it's authentic, but it could come back from CGC with like a sorry note, this is not authentic. It's just your chicken scratch. So missing that as well. Now, apparently, JZ has a very good reputation among the sports memorabilia. Um, but mind you, sports memorabilia and comic books are different. Um, I think in comic books, you actually have artists who can very convincingly mimic an autograph, a signature. Whereas in the sports memorabilia world, you're not going to you just have a bunch of card shop owners like, yeah, let me try to fake this, like maybe they could hire people, but in the comic book community, you have people with the dexterity to like basically copy exactly what they see, the angles and everything. So if they can copy something physical, they can definitely trace the lines of a signature to make it look. So my point is, you're going to see more, potentially more people who can fake a signature in the comic book community than you're going to like see in the sports memorabilia community. So there's going to be more risk of fake signatures now being submitted, coming back with authentic grades, and it's just opening them up for so much more ridicule should one of these things slip through. I could see a bunch of people just like, all right, see if you can authenticate this, and then coming out and say, hey, I faked it. You just gave me a label. And, it just, the whole cycle starts again. CDC is not, they're looking like they're very desperate right now. Rather than just focusing on the issues and being transparent and fixing the issues that are in front of them, they're like grasping for straws and trying to do everything but like trying to find opportunities in other venues and areas to stop a revenue free fall that's hurting their business. And nothing screams, we need to do something drastic more than shitting on one of your like pillars of like strategy, right? They created this whole CGC signature series to differentiate themselves from CBCS. But whatever the data is telling them, they're realizing this is not as viable as competing with CBCS on their terms. So it just doesn't make sense to me. It's really just perplexing as to why CG. I mean, I get why they're doing it. They figure, yeah, this is what people want. There's a bigger market there. A lot of people get stuff signed that isn't slab, so potentially CBCS must, I think, has that market cornered. So maybe they're just trying to steal CBCS's thunder or whatever. Or maybe they just want to create some buzz and news to have people forget about the previous scandal and shortcomings. But for whatever reason, they're making these like ridiculous sort of announcements about like new services, and I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. It just seems like they should just focus on fixing what's problematic rather than going after new revenue or new streams of revenue or new channels of business. Just it's kind of perplexing. I don't understand it. If you have a better explanation of why they would choose to go with signature authentication when you built up for years, you built up this business of a signature series, please explain it to me, because it just seems like you're crapping in your own bed. But yeah, that's the big comic book news. And Ethan and I were talking about it, and we kind of agreed, like, yeah, this is just sort of like it's like an attack on CBCS, like their main competitor, right? Right at the time when CBCS is obviously, without doing much, garnering more business. So it's sort of like the CGC sees people not submitting to them anymore and submitting to CBCS. So to staunch that flow, they're saying, hey, you know what? We do verifications too now. Hey, come back to us. And you've got these like dumbasses in the slabbing community like, what? CGC is doing verifications now? Okay, let me give them my money. Like, and you're a dumbass if you are doing that, because like CGC is essentially saying they've messed up, right? They're telling you like, look, our system's flawed. We're working on it. They haven't provided details. It's been 4 months now, and they haven't provided any details on how they're working on it. We're working on it. In the meantime, here, look at this 9.9s, 9.9 pre-screen. In the meantime, they're like, hey, look, we're doing what CBCS is doing now. That's not smart business. And if you're continuing to give them your business when you know the value of that service is no longer what it used to be, like with all that's come out, if you still think CGC's service is the same value, like $35, $40 to press and slab a book, if you honestly think it's the same value, then by all means, send your books in, throw them your money, because the value of a CGC slab and grading is not what it used to be. And that's why you're seeing to be honest, the switch to CBCS. That's why you're seeing it. CBCS hasn't lost any value. If anything, they've gained value, because they've come out and said, hey, this is our process. This is how we prevent this stuff you're seeing at CGC take place. This is how we do it. And they're showing it to you. So, yeah, I mean, these CGC, what do you want, fanboys, these fangirls that live and die with CGC, by all means, continue to pay for something that's lost value. Like, this was a $10 book. Now it's a $5 book. Continue to pay $10 for that book. Okay? That's your prerogative. But, it just looks stupid. It looks, and then they're crying, why is everybody so down on slabbing? Why do you have to come down on slabbing? So, no, we're not coming down on slabbing. We're coming down on the dummies that continue to do it, despite all the data and the what's in front of you, like the information in front of you, right? Like, it's not as valuable as it was before all the errors and flaws. So I think CDC, rather than doing all this like magic, like sleight of hand tricks, they should be dropping their prices and giving more value to people. Like, if you drop the prices, you're equating the value that you've lost through your reputational loss, that trust loss. You're essentially recalibrating the value of your service. That'll bring people back. Bring people back in droves. If CGC suddenly said, hey, you know what, we're dropping our prices by 10% or 30%, then that's cheaper than CBCS, sure. But as of now, all things equal, CBCS is providing more value. And, you know, anyway, we'll just see where it goes. I just love the fact that like CGC is not, they're just basically digging their own, like slowly digging their own like grave at this point, because they're run by a bunch of short-sighted idiots. Really, run by a bunch of short-sighted idiots. All right. What are some of the other things you can? All right. Well, MLB opens investigation into Tony former interpreter. So it looks like the MLB is going to interview Otani and Mizuhara. So Otani and Mizuhara are going to get their story straight and tell their story to the MLB. The MLB is going to come out with a report and say, yes, based on our investigation, Ippei did steal the money, and he did it without knowledge of Otani, betraying his trust, and yeah, Ippei was rightly fired, case closed, and that's what we are meant to believe, and that's what the MLB is going to eventually, the conclusion they're going to reach. And again, we'll all be moving past this incident in about a month or so. So there you go. It's going to be, yeah, Stephen A. Here's Stephen A. just like, Stephen A. just, I hate that guy, man. That guy's like the biggest BS celebrity. He's such a bullshitter, man. All right, well, thanks for joining me on this somewhat eventful comic book haul. A lot of books, I think, and love all the books we got, to be honest. It's a really focused haul. A lot of good stuff we picked up. Stuff for the PC. Some Dark Claw. That never hurts. Again, the book of the haul, this particular haul, I think is gonna remain this book here. What a glorious cover, back cover. Back cover. This is not the front cover, this is the back cover. Jimlee, freaking goodness. All right. With that, have a good night, and we'll see you in the next one, all right? Peace out.